Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's edition of the Just Us Review. We like to take our favorite shows. We don't care what genre. It can be superhero. It can be horror. It can be supernatural. Thank God that show's over. We'll break it down and give you guys that knit and that grit. And if we like it, we love it. If we hate it, God damn it, you gonna hear about it. And today, we gotta keep that train running. We gotta keep that train rolling. WandaVision popped off with its 6th installment. And there's only 3 left. And yeah, so let's go across the table as Marvel, opens the lint in their pocket and just throw some pocket change out of the show. And let's go down the line to see how people feel about this episode.
I'm confused too.
Oh, my pocket.
There was a lot of graphics in this episode.
Trust me, that's chump change for Disney. They own people. Go across the table. Just give your first impressions of
They
this
don't
episode.
own Gina Carano anymore.
Why would you want to own trash? Going across the table, let's give everybody's first opinions of this episode. Sid, how'd you feel about it?
Mid, like a 6.5.
Okay, I understand the way you feel right now. Talib, John, how you feel about it?
I'm gonna let Talib go.
Okay.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Christian, what'd you say?
I did like this episode. I wanted it to be more, but I wasn't mad at what we got.
Christian?
It's the worst episode in the series.
Oh, Jesus.
You said that last week.
The bar can be lowered. And John, your first impressions.
I thought it was fine, but like y'all, it was lacking something, and I'm gonna get into what I think it was lacking.
To me, it felt like more of the same, and we'll get into that. But before we put the icing on this shit cake, let's talk about the goods. What was the goods about this episode that made it stood out? Y'all get back to me when y'all done.
So, if I had to throw a good out there, I asked, when are we going to see Jimmy Woo be Jimmy Woo?
Oh! Yes.
Nothing, go.
I will say this. It's like the people at Disney heard you, and they was like, yo, Jimmy, they disrespected you. They was like, not this episode.
And the wife disrespected me. I was just asking, when are we going to see some Jimmy Woo respect? And they gave it to me, but it should have lasted longer. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm happy for what I got. Now just keep giving us more of it.
Okay, what about you?
I actually really liked the intro. Because this is like the 90s that we're in, right? And so
99, 2000.
yeah, it was giving me a lot of what is it, Even Stevens?
It was Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really liked that. I thought it was very nostalgic, and yeah, run the clock. Good on you.
Got a little Pete and Pete vibe in there too, but yeah.
Nobody cares about that show.
So I'm actually having a hard time figuring out my good. And I think that's a problem.
So John, what are you thinking?
I think I'm in the same boat as Sid. Like there was some good things, but it wasn't enough.
Right. Like Vision going to the edge of town, I think that was neat. And him trying to get through the barrier.
And I have problems with that.
That was okay. But it didn't really push the story.
One good thing
much.
I would say it did, because it now sees that Vision is tied to the town. He can't leave, or we haven't seen anybody else try to leave. But for me, I just said he can't leave, and if he tries to leave, he's literally gonna break apart.
We're gonna get to the bads when I talk about this, but both of y'all are right.
I figure he can't leave because he's part of Wanda's creation, and
that's the dead man she's having sex with.
Sure.
Well, a good that I have for the series is they actually addressed a question that I had with Agnes.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if she was somehow aware of what was going on, but comes to find out she's just as lost as everybody else.
I don't know.
But that raises the question too. How
I say yes and no on that too, because that doesn't mean she's still not a witch.
But
because I still maintain that Wanda went to her for magic help, and the shit went crazy, and she's like, "This bitch is more powerful than me."
Not just that, but the way that she talked and recognized Vision, I thought she had to be somebody who had to be in the know.
Well, since he's a public figure, she knew that he was a. What are you talking about? Inside the Hex, like with the show going on?
Yeah, with the show going.
When he broke her out.
When he broke her out, because because even the guy who he freed first, he was just he was just like.
But the thing is, when Dottie was awake, she didn't know who Wanda was at all. And I'm just like, well, she's an Avenger, just like Vision's an Avenger. Wouldn't you know who both of them are? And Norm never actually said he recognized Vision. He just like, oh my gosh, I'm awake, help us.
The only
and
thing
Vision was in his human form.
The only thing I'll say is why she might not have recognized Wanda is because remember Wanda was on Cap's team during Civil War and they went underground.
No, but even before that, she was an Avenger.
But we don't know how much she was in because a lot of their Avengers work was like off-camera secret stuff. Vision was public because he signed the Accords, and honestly, he was the only Avenger left after Civil War.
What you forgetting is the beginning of Civil War when they went to Lagos and
she did kick off the Accords.
Floppy Nazi Wanda blew up some black people in Lagos, and that was public.
I guess that would garner attention.
But
the bomb was already going off.
Yeah. we know that.
So for me, it was more of. It kind of seemed like it was acting.
When she
she's acting, but it seems like she was purposefully being like, Wanda won't let us do anything, because if you remember a previous episode when she was confronting Geraldine, aka Monica Rambeau, it was her and Herb that were talking to each other about what was going on inside of the house. And then we later see her asking Wanda if she wants her to do it again, but in this episode we see Herb saying, is there something that you want changed? And so if she's not fully awake, I think she might, be like an enforcer like Herb. And so they're both like overseeing, making sure things go the way Wanda wants them to.
Another thing that this show answered is that I always wonder where, and I think we asked this question before too, where the children were. Because we have this town, but the children only show up when they have children. And then we also saw that even though she's this powerful, the further you get from her, her power wanes. So we see a bunch of people who are sitting there stuck. Like one of the most powerful imageries is the lady putting the clothes on the line.
She was crying.
And she's crying, and you don't know how long she's been out there.
And I kind of feel like that's a bit of a contradiction from what we see later.
I know what you mean.
See, I don't think it's that her power wanes. It's just like, because this is a TV show, right? And so you don't really see what's going on off camera that's not in their vicinity. So everyone else is frozen until a main character walks by them.
But and this is
well, I would say specifically until Wanda walked by them, because remember she told Tommy and Billy, don't go past that street,
which means she knew. So any more goods?
I like the commercial, but I'm gonna save it for the theory slot.
Yeah, you mentioned to me something about the commercial.
Yeah.
I liked what they were trying to do with Pietro, because they were like having. Stop it! No. I mean, like.
So he's the first on my list.
We'll get to that later, but this is
It was just because like I saw what they were trying to do. They were trying to have like a familiar face, try to basically enable her to keep her doing what she's doing. And I liked how they used it. Yeah.
Are y'all done? Are we done?
Yeah.
All right.
To bads now.
Let's kick this off. All right, now it's time to go into the bads. The things that just irked us about this show, and they could have done a lot without. Who wants to go first?
So since you brought him up, let's bring that out here. The Pietro shit was that. It was shit. It was pointless. So here's what bothers me about the Pietro thing. Which one is he?
He's not either.
Even
before this, like before we get later into the episode with him, it's clear that he doesn't have the mannerisms of the MCU Quicksilver, and he doesn't have the Fox Quicksilver. He is a third Quicksilver. Actually,
so it was what I said. They were being cute when they did that casting.
Yeah, and so, hold on. What I would actually say is he's more in line with. Did any of y'all watch X-Men Evolution?
Yeah.
He is that Quicksilver, in my opinion.
I hated that Quicksilver. That sounded like Inuyasha.
Yeah.
That's just a hot head. I'll go run and do it.
Exactly. That was the Quicksilver he was.
Go, man!
He was literally Uncle Jesse.
Yeah.
But I know this is kind of a theory. So should I hold it?
Hold to the theory spots.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the bads, and this that I have is, and this just cements Wanda as a big piece of shit. Let's agree.
Like we were on the same team last week.
No. Let me explain why. Because of what they showed at the end, and that she's aware of her territory and space, and that means that she knows those people are stuck out there doing nothing, and they're purposely stuck out there. That makes not only are you a piece of shit for kidnapping this town, but now you got these people stuck doing nothing while you play out your Barbie fantasy.
Well, I wouldn't say that she knows that they're stuck out there doing nothing because they move when she goes around them. So how would she know that they're not moving when she's not there?
No, she knows. What he's trying to say is he only activates them when she needs them for specific people like her kids or whatever. So like, I want to dovetail off of that into my bag because I'm glad you brought that up. That makes the fact that Monica and Jimmy and Kat Dennings running around trying to protect whatever the minority because that's what it was.
The minority's trying to capture this white lady.
Exactly. After super aggro white guy got mad and kicked him off the detective mission or whatever.
And then we find out, and because we gotta paint him even worse. And this ain't even redeemable. We find out he wants Vision's body for weapons. If you remember.
Sorry, but we can't paint this as a bad thing because Samuel L. Jackson was literally doing the same thing with the Tesseract.
But the reason why it's bad is because he specifically threw it in their faces that Vision's last will and testament was he didn't want his body to be used as a weapon.
Exactly. And Nicole Samuel L. Jackson, we did this because of him.
So I have a theory about that. I think what they're going to do, because the project is called Cataract. Double Vision. They're going to make another Vision.
So I'm about to defend Hayward, and I feel gross for doing so, but he's right to do that.
Yes.
Like they have nothing.
There's no more Avengers.
No,
Bruce Banner won't do anything.
It's not that he has a bum on.
Well, Christian, you didn't even got to reach that far. They have a town full of people they can't even help.
Exactly.
Because one lady is throwing a temper tantrum.
But the thing is, if you want Vision back because you're trying to make another weapon, but you're gonna sit there and watch while he's literally falling to pieces. And so you're not trying to save your asset.
But what could they do?
What could they do?
He was just reverting back to his original state.
Yeah, his dead
state. I thought it was like pulling him back in piece by piece.
No, he wasn't alive to begin with.
Remember his body.
Yeah.
I still think
his wife was
here's my problem with how they're scripting it. We get it. Nazi Wanda put strings on it, makes him dance. Here's my problem with the whole thing with Hayward and how they're scripting this and trying to turn him into this villainous character.
Cliche.
That, but also like everybody is looking past the part where the only reason he's doing this is because that motherfucker like just all around is scared. He was one of the survivors
of the snap.
And
even with half the Avengers still around, no one was doing it.
Exactly. And
mind you, Hawkeye's still running around.
Hawkeye was the only one putting the work in.
And Monica running around. But we gotta save her. She's mentally. And I'm like,
This is
no.
You know what this is to me? This is whenever those people go on mass shootings and you want to blame it on mental health.
Exactly.
Let me explain what I mean by that. She literally has thousands of people with a gun to their head. At any moment, she can do whatever she wants to those people against their will. They're her slaves.
And my other problem with that is, if you want to play the mental health card, then I don't want to see advertisements on Valentine's Day hooking her and Vision up together talking about Happy Valentine's Day and shit like that. Like, if it's a mental health thing, then don't do that.
You talking about advertisements for the show.
Oh.
Marvel put when on Sunday on social media they put up WandaVision Valentine's Day related stuff.
I can sum this whole episode.
If she's mentally ill, then that's in poor taste.
In my defense, not of Wanda, but of Monica, she was doing it because Monica's just found out she's lost her mother. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, well, she was snapped back just like I was. She's grieving, so she's trying to empathize with the grieving woman and have the least amount of casualties as possible.
And that's supposed to be symbolism. That's a symbolic thing. That's why these two characters. That's why Monica is in this show.
Sorry. Go ahead, finish.
My whole thing is, I don't see how you guys can be mad at that because, she's just trying to make sure that what happened when she came out with the missile and basically turned everyone against each other. She knows that Wanda can do that. She knows how strong Wanda is. And so she's like, okay, so let's try to cut out altercations completely and just talk to her about it.
So, two things about that. One of the reasons I have a problem with it is the framing. Like, when you consider everything regarding who these characters are and what this looks like and what the scripts made them do for these episodes, the framing makes it look like
Magical Black Negro.
Exactly. Stepping and fetching for this fragile white woman.
And the part that kills me is she clearly can snap herself in and out anytime she wants to.
The second thing, I have a problem with that. So, okay, she wants to de-escalate the situation and have someone talk to her. Where are the mental health people?
And me and you talked about this, and this is something I gotta push back with you against. Okay, so you get a psychologist. He or she is regular. You gonna send a regular person in there?
That shouldn't matter.
It should matter.
If you're a doctor and that's your thing, then it shouldn't matter if they have superpowers or not.
Shit, but that's out of. But my thing.
Why does he have to have superpowers to be?
I didn't say he had to have superpowers, but what you're saying is. What you're saying is let's send a regular person with no combat training into there to talk.
I'm saying let's send a therapist in there
who is not trained.
They need somebody who basically understands the situation.
If Wanda was acting up on space, do you send an astronaut or do you send a therapist? With no astronaut training.
And that's why I think that
doesn't make any sense.
No,
that doesn't make sense.
If we remember from the Avengers movies, Steve was the one talking to them. Why? Because he understands the situation they're in. He's on the same team. He's super powered like they are.
Well, this is why I push back a little back because Hawkeye was always able to connect with her.
And that's why I question why don't they go get him?
Because he got his family. He gone.
His family just got snapped back.
And I don't even, and that's why I say you don't need superpowers, but my whole thing has always been, why aren't they going to get other
anybody connected to her?
Exactly.
Because the budget can't hold it.
So
moving on,
Also, I think it's only been like a couple of days.
Yeah, it's been more than that.
So
it's been a couple of weeks.
Now it's been a couple of weeks.
So let me. Hold on, because I want to get back. That's another bad I have, and it connects to something you have a problem with, which is the pacing.
Thank you, Jesus.
So I see what he's talking about, and I know why it's a problem. Time moves different. Looks like it moves different between the two areas that they focus on that show, which is outside of the bubble and inside of the bubble. The episode before this one, they explained that it had been 8 days since a bubble has been up.
But how long since Monica has been in the bubble?
8 days.
No, she wasn't. She walked in there, 5 days afterwards?
Wanda put up the bubble first, the town disappeared, and
Yeah.
then Jimmy Woo hits the scene. And then it calls Monica.
See, Monica walked in what,
It had been 8
episode?
days when.
But see, here's the thing, though. Like, days pass in the bubble, but outside, it seems like every time we flash back outside, it's always night. They in the same place, and it looks like they haven't gotten anywhere.
And that's why I'm like got mad, because I was like, it's like, okay, it's like 24. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, we're going through every second of their day. All right, somebody ordered a pizza. All right, well, now we got to wait for the pizza man to get here. And I was like, they're not really doing anything.
And here's the example. At the beginning of this episode, they were bringing the drone back into the base. That happened how many episodes ago?
Exactly. Exactly. That's why I'm like, the pacing of this is really off, because it's like we're more, and I get it, it's called WandaVision. We're focused on the bubble. Mm-hmm. But if a lot of your production budget is what's happening outside the bubble, and they're really just sitting there waiting to, I guess we're waiting till we can get in contact with Wanda, wait to episode 9. And I'm like, wait, what? Because what majorly happened between last episode and this one, outside of Vision trying to escape?
The kids got their powers.
Mm-hmm. But we knew they were special.
Wait, no, because also now that Pietro's here, we realize that she didn't put him here, so he was put here.
Subconscious.
Okay, you're saying it was subconscious, and that's what he.
So here, we can get the theory.
Wait, we'll say
and that's what he.
We'll say that for theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, any more bads?
I have a bad.
Go for it.
We were talking about how Wanda. Oh,
by the way, sorry, that cut flat. Keep going.
Thank you. We were talking about how Wanda, the further you get away from Wanda, like, she doesn't control those people. I have an issue with the inconsistency of her power set, because if that's the case, she expanded the bubble, mm-hmm. and when she and theoretically, those people that were outside of the bubble are further away from Wanda than those people that Vision met up with. But when we see them after they've gone through the bubble, they're active and moving and shit.
So I think that she just expanded her powers. Like, I don't know. Well, this definitely was consciously. And if this is working off pure emotion, then she probably thought she couldn't control all the people on the perimeter. So they kind of just left them there. And then when she saw Vision was in trouble and who was doing it, then...
But here's my issue.
She
could have easily gone to some uninhabited place to do this. She chose these unsuspecting people to do this to. This was a choice.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but one thing,
we're gonna get to the theory.
Okay, but it's like, you are a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And my thing is,
and a Nazi.
They're synonymous.
But the thing that gets me is, it's like Darcy and the crew are trying to force us to sympathize with her, and I can't.
That's fine. Just
like they're trying to force us to hate Haywood, and I'm like, I see what his issues are.
It's the same. Well, you put it like this: Haywood and Nick Fury literally had the same agenda. It was like, we have this technology that can help protect us from the likes of you, because there's a lady who has over 3,000 hostages, and we're sitting here looking stupid.
Okay, but from my understanding, when Nick Fury was presented with other options, he was like, okay, we'll try it out. To my understanding, Haywood's just like, fuck you.
No, you mean the same Nick Fury who went for the Tesseract and also signed on for a program to police the world that eventually got converted to Hydra.
No, Hydra was already there.
Yeah, Hydra was there.
But he also signed on for the airships.
Okay.
The airships were supposed to be a deterrent. And then Captain America was like, there's a problem with you trying to stop stuff before it even starts.
Yes, and so when he was presented with other options, aka by Cap, didn't he change?
No.
The view?
It wasn't that he was presented with other options. Captain America told him, no, this ends now. I don't care who the fuck's in the room. I'm in charge.
And they was like, well, I guess he's in charge.
And it's funny because this is so hilarious because it seems like with each subsequent movie, they trying to tell you subtly that Iron Man side was right in Civil War. They not outright saying it. Look, I was Team Cap, but they not.
Wait. We going way off topic.
Basically, these supers are out of control.
But the reason why I say that is because going back to Haywood, you gotta look at it from his perspective. He was just going about his day, and half the people on the planet disappeared. And then 5 years later, and the man who did it dipped off too. And then 5 years later, he was going about his day, and those people came back, and the man who did it came back. And if you also look at it from his standpoint, the Avengers lost that first time. The only reason they won that second time is because they decided, nah, Playboy, run that playback. That's the only reason.
Okay.
And then
But
If the Avengers could fucking lose, then that's it.
But my thing is, you're thinking of it as like, it was Haywood and Haywood only. Jimmy was there for 5 years as well. Darcy was there for 5 years as well. So these are two people who were in the same kind of predicament he was in. That was like, no, what you're doing isn't right.
Actually, wait, I have to push back on that. Their job is to protecting the world.
So Darcy is the one who found out what was going on inside there anyway. So
after Haywood brought a collection of the world's smartest people there,
okay,
that was going
so
on.
yes, he brought her there. He brought all those people there to figure out solutions. And then when she was like, okay, your solution is wrong. Don't do what you're doing. And he was like, okay, get off my base.
Yes, it's called chain of command.
But again,
keep in mind, she fast-mouthed him. And I
don't care.
No, that matters.
That does.
That fucking matters.
That's a military unit. It's chain of command if you don't respect it.
But she's the one who found the answers he was looking for.
Because that's her job.
Exactly. So when she was like, well, we can figure out a different plan because clearly yours didn't work because she brought the missile out and threw it at them.
Okay. So wait.
So listen to the
So wait, this is the learning. This is the learning point because I want you to understand how a company works.
Well, I just want to say.
Wait. If I hire you to do it, if I hire you to do a job, and I tell you to do something, and I'm over you, you can suggest all you want.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, who makes the decision?
Okay. I see what you're saying, but you're fucking wrong. Because
is that not how it works?
Let me finish.
Is that how the world works?
I'm not saying that's not how the
because
world
then I'm gonna come in and tell you why this is fucked up.
Okay, so he brings the collection of the world's smartest people around, right?
Some of them.
So he brings people smarter than him to figure out the solution, yes or no?
Reed Richards wasn't there, but keep going, yeah.
Smarter than him, yes or no?
Hope wasn't there.
Yeah.
Smarter than him, yes or no?
You said yeah.
Okay, so he brings people smarter than him because he doesn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then they figure out what's going on inside there. They was like, oh, and then he just wants to do whatever he wants to do. And they're like, well, don't do that because it's going to do this, and this, and we can't match her. And instead of listening to them, the smarter people saying, we can't match her, he was like, oh no, we got to kill her anyway. But you tried that, shot a missile at her and her kids, and she turned your entire firing squad on you.
So I'm going to tell you why that whole thing is fucked up.
But before you say that question, does this all sound like corporate America?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't,
but see, here's the thing though, and I'm going to tell you where this all lies. The story is poorly written.
Yes.
Think about how he had acted in the first episode he appeared in versus the very next episode.
I might be your daddy.
And then, he went from cordial white man to irrational white man. And they needed him to be irrational so that the three minorities that was there to say, no, this isn't the right way to do this, could come in conflict with him.
Which really doesn't make sense for our Monica and old dude because they are in the organization.
They're in service.
They're in service, so they know to follow chain of command.
Okay.
No, I agree with you. It's 100% wrong and stupid, But that's
how it was written, and it was poorly written.
Right, that's
the point I'm getting at.
And that's how leadership runs. If a subordinate tries to override the leader, they're going to put them out.
Okay.
I listen to the smart people. That's all I'm saying. But here's the thing. That and that's something. You say it's poorly written, but I would say something different. I would just say it's just a commentary on how chain of command in corporate America works. That's what should happen. Why do you think we have these situations? This may seem ridiculously off topic, but why do you think we have these situations where these fucking banks and shit need to be saved every time the economy gets a little fucked up?
And I get what you're saying, but if we want to have commentary, let's write it correctly. Let's get people that are sophisticated enough to handle a script where that can be conveyed correctly.
Now, we going back and forth on this, so let's go ahead and run into some theories, because honestly, I didn't catch anything watching this episode.
I have several.
Yeah, so let me throw mine out here and say this. There's no Magneto, there's no Reed Richards, there's no X-Men, there's definitely no Mephisto. Get that out of your mind.
So, since you brought up Reed Richards,
Sloppy Nazi Wanda Maximoff is the enemy. The end. Go.
Okay. So there is a theory going around that after, this isn't my theory, but just to chime off of what you said about X-Men, there is a theory going around that when she extended the portal, people went into the Hex, so now they're Hex-Men.
All right, so moving on.
But these are my theories.
Are you proud of yourself?
I didn't make that theory up.
Well, what I am proud of is the fact that they actually threw the word hex in there, because I know
that was her original power.
Original power set.
Yeah.
So first theory, since we threw out the field, this is just a silly theory. I think so. They were in like the 99s and the 2000s, the 99 and the 2000s for this one. So the next, so the next episode is gonna be. The next episode, they're gonna be in like the 2010s.
Yeah.
Dorothy is in the portal. They are going to do a Two Broke Girls reference.
I don't think so.
Oh,
I
that
think
would
so.
be so cool. I would love that if they just walk into a diner and she's just a waitress.
I guarantee you.
You know why I would love that?
Okay. Don't talk like that and touch me at the same time.
I'm just gonna say this. Darcy wore his particular uniform, and that's
Shut the fuck up. Shut up.
My second theory, and this goes.
They look grimy.
It's like, why am I in the shower right now?
Second theory, and this goes to the astrophysicist that Monica knows. I agree with you. It's not Reed Richards, but I have 4 ideas for who I think it is.
So one of them could be mine. Go ahead.
The first one is literally nobody. Throw that out the way.
okay.
The second one.
Ooh.
Hold on.
Ain't nobody or no one shows up?
No. Someone will show up. It's just gonna be a nobody.
Okay.
Okay, so a new character.
The second one, I think they're going to be a nobody, but I think they're going to get the actor that played Mr. Fantastic in the first 2 Fantastic Four films, just so everybody can freak out.
That would be nice.
Oh, I thought that until Christian told me he got caught up in real life. So.
Yeah. He's
His wife came out and was like, he abandoned the family.
But maybe they can find somebody like Armie Hammer to replace him.
The third theory, and I don't understand why people haven't brought this up, especially considering the connection to Monica.
This is mine.
Blue Marvel. Exactly. Everybody wants to say Reed Richards, but I don't think she's ever even talked to that motherfucker in the comics. But her and Blue Marvel are on the same superhero team, and they're in a relationship. And he's a genius. It makes sense.
I like that theory.
The fourth theory, which to me is the obvious one, is fucking War Machine.
He was an astrophysicist?
He's not an astrophysicist, but they never said that the person was an astrophysicist. They just said that they were in aerospace.
Aerospace engineer.
Rhodey is technically in that field.
Yeah.
And Rhodey's gonna be in the reason why this makes sense to me, Rhodey is going to be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's gonna guest star on that show.
So he might be the linchpin in the Marvel shows.
And also, he's getting his own show called Armor Wars. And if you know what that's copying off of, in the comics, the Armor Wars was Tony Stark figured out that people around the world were taking his tech, so he went and he snatched that shit up. That's basically what the Armor Wars show is going to be, but it's going to be Rhodey going to get Tony's tech back. There's a big ass piece of Tony's tech in the portal. His name is Vision.
That's true.
Okay.
Nice theories, bro. Alright, the commercial. So
Please explain that to me.
you said previously that previously on Slander Presents, you said that they are going to do a '90s Action Pal commercial, like Fruit Punch or Kool-Aid.
I did say that. I did say that.
So this was in the spirit of that,
Mhm.
except they did yogurt.
Yeah, it was Go-Gurt.
Yeah.
Sidebar.
So
Has anyone ever had Go-Gurt?
I
have.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I've always just not.
You know
It
what
looks
I'm
like it's nasty.
No, it tastes like yogurt.
I was getting more Danimals than a Go-Gurt.
They literally took yogurt and they took half of what you would normally get and put it in a fucking straw. But yeah, it's just
So I think
by
that
the way, the next commercial is gonna be a surge. But keep going.
2010.
More Mountain Dew or surge.
That's early 2000.
Remember Thoby?
Yeah.
You look like you embarrassed that that was a thing.
But keep going.
So that commercial is I won't say it's one of two things, but basically it's literally saying that there is a character feeding off someone's magic. That's literally what the commercial is saying. I don't know if this saying. I think that the little boy is supposed to be Wiccan because he looks a little bit like him.
Thank you for saying that, because a lot of people will be like, "That's Mephisto. That's WandaVision." That's literally what people are like.
Have you met people?
I met him.
So I mean, literally, you can change out Wiccan and Scarlet Witch. They're the same character.
Pretty
So I don't care who the little claymation boy is representing, but it's a magical character whose power is being fed off of
Okay.
by another force.
By the way, go ahead.
I think that goes into my theory that Pietro was put there as someone to enable her to keep what she's doing going. And
The devil on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Can I counter that? Keep
Well,
going,
let
but can I keep going?
when I'm done.
Okay.
Okay, so, he's got there and he's like, oh yeah, the whole reason I don't look the same is because why would you want a whole reminder of that? She was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. So he spent the
That makes sense,
majority.
but she would remind her of your dead husband.
So
He's not wrong. But then here's the fucked up part. Then when she saw dead Pietro, it was still him in the silhouette. So let her keep going, because I want to.
My thing, I was like, because we've only seen her have them when she's looking dead at them. And so when she's looking at him, she was like, oh, well, this is my brother. Last time I saw my brother, he had a whole bunch of bullets in him. And I felt those bullets. I felt him die. And so they put in someone that she trusts, someone who she would listen to when they tell her that everything's going to be okay. And I think that's why he was there. And the whole time he was there, he was just creating tension, not doing, what she would have him do had she put him there herself, consciously. And then even that thing that he said about, well, it's not like your dead husband can die twice, and then she basically bitch slapped him for it. It just proved to me that, this was not her doing. She did not put him here, because if everyone there is supposed to be following a script that she wrote, then why would she have him say something like that and then bitch slap him for it?
Counter.
I'm gonna before.
On the side note, the intro next time is gonna be iCarly.
Actually, yeah, you might be right.
Counter.
Go for it.
Vision goes against her protocols.
Yeah, I think Vision's the only person that she can't control in there.
No,
But
she's controlling him.
How is she?
So
He put
I
on
feel like I
outfit.
wasn't wrong before.
So I'm gonna do a rebuttal when we finish.
I think that just like she took Vision's dead body and she's dancing it around, I think when she made the portal, and I think there's a cemetery in that portal, and I think she found someone that got shot in Little 5 Points or the East Side or somewhere, and she took their body and she's dancing it around.
You know, yeah,
Yes.
we're making this too complicated.
No,
basically,
it's not complicated at all.
Basically, Wanda put batteries in her vibrator, and now it's back on.
I think she is doing Pietro. I think she took a dead body and she's parading it around to be Pietro, and it doesn't matter who it is.
So a lot of theories going across the table, flying around. A lot of concepts that we don't know what's happening. At this point, a lot of us are just lost. So going across this last couple episodes, there seems to be a descent going on. Hopefully everything gets back on the rails, because right now you're starting to lose us, Disney. And right now I'm just waiting till Falcon and Winter Soldier comes around the corner. Thank you guys for joining us for this.
Go. No, go.
I'm actually very interested to see where it's going, because I feel like they're just giving us build up to like a climactic event, and I'm excited to see what the climax is.
Yeah, that'll be fine, but they better deliver.
So the rumor is the last 3 episodes are an hour each, and I wanted that.
Cool. Thank you guys for joining us for this episode of the Just Us Review. As you can see, lively debate here, and we agree on absolutely nothing, except that everybody sucks. Go in the bottom, put your opinions down on what you think is happening in the show, and guess what? It's cool to be wrong, because you most likely are. Like and subscribe, but until next time, fade to black.